Now, you all probably know how powerful the reflux is for mobbing because of the chains it creates everywhere, and combined, especially with flex skill Megavore, we can crit with these chains and do some insane things. Now, what you guys didn't know is how much freaking damage that Flack has in his skill trees. So to prove it to you guys, we are going to take this mobbing weapon to a boss, and we are just going to show you guys how powerful this thing is. And that is the power of three-shot fade flak. We can take a weapon like the reflux, which is for mobs. The chains are the bulk of this weapon's damage, and melt a boss like Captain Trant with it. Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to be going over three-shot fade flak. This build not only has very strong survivability, despite what many people think about flak, we have insane damage potential. And then finally, we got to give a shout out to Ratore. You guys know that Ratore is flak himself. He is the flak master. So we're showing off his build for level 60 with the brand new 3 skill points. A bunch of people have been asking me how Ratore runs it these days. On top of that, I am going to give you guys some tips and tricks I like to use for content like the Guardian takedown. And on top of that, this is a pretty general build. You can use a lot of different weapons in this setup and pretty much whatever you want. So with that being said, let's break down the build and get straight into it. So we are going to just hop back into the game. First, I kind of want to go over the weapons. I have been playing with just, whatever weapon I want. It's really just the gear we're going to have to talk about, like these 4 items right here. But when it comes to the weapons, you guys want to remember one thing. Flak obviously has the capstone Megavore, and then we have the skill head count. Our goal is to loop fadeaway. We are actually using fadeaway with these 2 middle augments, and a lot of people don't realize it, but these are actually ASE augments. You really want to avoid Gorillas in the Mist for mobbing and even most bossing. Gorillas in the Mist is really just a niche bossing augment for weapons like the Monarch, but these 2 augments in the middle are insane for mobbing. These are action, skill, and augments if you really look at them and read them. So when it comes to the gear, you can pretty much just use whatever powerful weapons you want. I've been enjoying some of the new DLC 3 weapons like the Light Show and the Gargoyle, but the Reflux is a staple for flak mobbing, and it will continue to be. What you guys are really looking for is multi-pellet weapons. So you notice this is a ×7. There is even a case to use a ×14 Reflux sometimes to get back fadeaway with head count more often. And then the Light Show is amazing because it is a fully automatic ×4 weapon. This is like a mini Monarch, which is a ×8 weapon in bipod mode. These multi-pellet weapons all have a chance to trigger Megavore, which all then have a chance to trigger head count. So it creates this very powerful synergy where you are constantly in and out of fadeaway. And like I said, you can pretty much just use whatever weapons you want. As long as they are powerful, as long as they're good weapons. You could even use a Brainstormer instead of this Reflex because it is so good. And then finally, what I want to talk about with the weapons is what anointments you're looking for. So we're pretty much just looking for action, skill, and anointments because we are going to be looping fadeaway over and over, going in and out of our action skill. So these next 2 magazine anointments and the splash anointment are your top 2 picks for action, skill, and then besides that, you probably want a weapon or 2 with consecutive hits, just because it's kind of awkward to make sure action skill end is up all the time. So having a weapon to swap to with consecutive hits is very handy. Now, the next thing I want to go over is actually the gear. First, let's talk about the shield. When it comes down to it, the Old God shield is the highest damaging shield for flak. So if you can get these with the right action skill end to match, these are going to do a lot of work for you. But I really have to point out the action skill start Frozen Heart. Since we're looping fadeaway so much, every time we activate fadeaway, we will activate the Cryo Nova, triggering and freezing every single enemy around us. This comes in so handy, not only for survivability because you are CCing every single enemy and healing. This also comes in handy for the Guardian takedown and the crystals, but if you just want to shred through enemies, I really recommend just tossing on your Old God shield. And yeah, Next, we are using the Bounty Hunter class mod, and I am actually going to talk about a slight variation in the skill trees when it comes to this class mod, because if you actually get a Bounty Hunter with Frenzy, you can take advantage of that skill, and I'll tell you guys in the skill trees. So yeah, the Bounty Hunter is very, very powerful though. Then we are using the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, and I just want you guys to know that this is the best artifact. If you don't have DLC 2, then just put on a nice Victory Rush. But even when I was using an Icebreaker Vic Rush with the Frozen Heart, I felt like the Pearl was still out damaging it, and I believe it does, according to the calculations. And finally, when it comes to the grenade, you just want to put on your best action skill and element grenade. You can use Hunter Seekers, you can use Recurring Hex. Recurring Hex is very nice for pre-stacking the Pearl, and also even pre-stacking this consecutive hit anointment. But the Hunter Seeker is pretty cool for triggering stuff like Head Count and Megavore, and yeah. Now, most importantly, we are going to go into the skill trees, and we actually have a slight variation. If you have a Bounty Hunter you really like that has a bunch of points into Frenzy, we actually have enough skill points now to get both Capstones and He Bites. Now, if you guys didn't know, but Frenzy is a very powerful damage bonus, and this is actually stacked with Flex Pets. Now, you don't want to build for this unless your Bounty Hunter has Frenzy on it. And what you can actually do is take a couple points out of Second Intention, and then take a couple points out of Self-Repairing System, and get your way to He Bites. You can spend 5 points in this first tree, and then 1 point into He Bites, and that's how you're going to take advantage of Frenzy. But otherwise, it's not necessary. Don't go for the Frenzy strategy if you don't have to. But as you can see here, I have a very powerful Bounty Hunter with some points in Frenzy. So if I wanted to use this Bounty Hunter, then I would do the Frenzy strategy. Now, with that being said, let's go over the skill trees that I prefer and that Ratore pretty much builds for, but he did want me to mention that Frenzy thing. So obviously in the red tree, we are going down all the way to Megavore, and we are picking up Head Count and Leave No Trace, which are really just the skills that keep this tree going. You'll have infinite ammo on your Reflux between Leave No Trace and Megavore and all the chains critting. Hunter's Eye is a very powerful bonus. It gives you crit damage, gun damage, V2. I'm pretty sure someone yell at me in the comments down below if I'm wrong. But especially against bosses and during the Guardian takedown, you will get the bonus. Even though Guardians themselves do not count with Hunter's Eye. And if you want to spec specifically for the Guardian takedown enemies, you can actually take Ambush Predator over Hunter's Eye, but this is just a really good skill for bossing anyway, and we have enough damage regardless, and this is good for the rest of the content of the game. And besides that, we got Big Game and the Most Dangerous Game. Finally, 1 point into Galactic Shadow, and like I said, Megavore. Now, what's so powerful about this build, and what's also awesome about the Frozen Heart Shield, is we get to get the power inside. Now, this is an awesome capstone that can give you up to 50% V1, I believe, which is a very strong bonus, and it's what makes Flack so powerful. His damage formula is so powerful. The Hidden Machine is very awesome. Now, I kind of want to mention the crystals, and I want to show this clip again. If you guys see, I am actually spamming my attack command. We really want to take advantage of Not My Circus, alongside the attack command and Hidden Machine. This is how you more consistently get this bonus, but it's not necessarily required. The Hidden Machine can be a little bit weird sometimes, but as long as you're using Not My Circus in conjunction with your attack command, it should work out pretty well for you, and you will get this bonus. Besides that, we have a pretty straightforward green tree. Avoid Eager to Impress, because Head Count with Fadeaway is exactly what you want. And we're not using racks in this setup. Currently, racks are bugged with Head Count, so that's the only reason you would want to go to Eager to Impress. But Head Count is just much better than this. And then one other thing I want to mention about Rage and Recover is this is actually bugged, or the description here is just incorrect. This doesn't give you the full bonus it says it does. It actually will regen you for a lot less health than that, so you want to avoid this skill in general. Overclocked and Furious Attack are some great other damage bonuses in this tree. Fast and Furious gives you some good damage. One other thing I want to mention is people ask about the pet. The Scorcher Spider Ant with the elemental damage is pretty much the best bonus. Since flax trees do not have any elemental damage inside of it, this offers another multiplicative bonus because we're not using any elemental damage. We can use the Old God Shield sometimes, but even in that case, you still have less elemental damage than the like the Skag can give you, and yeah. The Scorcher Spider Ant is also the pet that got buffed the most. This one can actually dish out the most damage with its fire attack, which is kind of inconsistent sometimes, but yeah, you know. And besides that, guys, I feel like we pretty much went over the build. A couple tips for mobbing is to just check your positioning, spam the attack command, and always spam fadeaway as much as you can. If you're not getting fadeaway back, you need to be shooting more. You need to be hyper aggressive with this build. As long as you're going in and out of fadeaway, spamming not my circus and spamming until you are dead, you're going to be good to go. That's what gives you all your survivability, is killing every single enemy in the area. Excuse me. And if you guys still need a little bit more survivability, then I really recommend this Frozen Heart Shield. Now, like I said, this Frozen Heart Shield isn't necessary, but personally, I just love playing with this shield for mobbing as well, because as you guys know, I am a Zane main, so Zane has some natural freezing ability that Fleck doesn't, and the Frozen Heart Shield pairs perfectly with that. And yeah, guys, just check out pretty much whatever guns you want. The strongest ones, like I mentioned, are the multi-pellet weapons, which are best for triggering Megavore and head count and stuff. And make sure you farm up a good reflux with next two mags. Next two mags is possibly the highest damaging anointment in this setup, except for on splash weapons. You're going to want 200% splash damage. Yeah, so these are the main anointments you're looking out for. But, you know, like I said, consecutive hits is very nice to swap to. And that is pretty much it for this build video and this build guide. I really hope you guys enjoy 3-Shot Fade Flak. Once again, brought to you by Ratore, but Ratore is not a YouTuber, so he wants to spread this build around, and that's what I'm doing. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like on it, and subscribe to the channel for more Borderlands 3 videos. If you guys want to watch me play this build and crush bosses, mobs, everything in the Guardian takedown, check me out on twitch.tv/thickfillet_. Finally, join the Discord and check out my Twitter. That's it from me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.